There we are. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you, Doug, here at Woodspun Round. It is a cold day here in Kentucky. Cold, coolish day, not cold. A little bit overcast. Great day to be in the shop. You see my three friends, all three of them, except Todd. I'm mad at Todd right now. I'm not going to tell you why, but I'm mad at him.
You should
Um,
be.
yeah, I am green with envy. Green with envy. Then we have Wayne and we've got Ruby, and it's going to be a great day. You guys, thank you so much for coming along. I'm going to get you all in the background, and then there we go. Let's talk about what we're going to do here for just a minute, and then we'll get started. I've got a log. Um, it's 14 and a half, 15 inches long, something like that, and about, oh, what is that? 3 inches one way and almost four the other way. So it's not round. It's at least not on that end. It's kind of oblong. That end's a little rounder, closer to 4 inches round. But we're not going to turn it in that orientation. We're going to turn it in that orientation. Uh, I want to do one of my favorite turnings, really. It depends on who you ask as to what it's called, whether it's called a banana bowl or a potato chip bowl or whatever. Um, Goodness gracious, I had marks on here a while ago. They've disappeared. No, they haven't. I see them. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna make it. It's gonna be long ways. The axis is gonna go right through there from here to the other side, and so it's gonna be whirling around. At some point, it sounds like a propeller. We'll see if we can't get it to do that where you guys can hear it. So with that, I'm gonna start getting it mounted up on the lathe, and I don't know. Somebody is gonna read out who's in the chat for us today.
Well, you can make it sound like a propeller, just don't let it take off.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because I don't
There we
have
go.
my face shield right here.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll have mine on, so that'll protect everybody.
Oh, okay, good.
Who's going to read off chat tonight?
I guess that's going to be me.
Everybody was just jumping to do it. I know.
Okay, this chat will jump a bit since I've gone right back to the start. Dale can't be with us tonight because he's got to take his dog to the vets. Frederick's in. Cold but sunny spring-like day in the county of Kent, UK. Seeing the current temperature is 3 degrees C, which is 37 Fahrenheit. Obviously Ruby's here and commenting on the weather where she is as well.
Yes, it's gotten warmer here. Yesterday was 29 Fahrenheit and today is 50. And by Thursday, we've got snow coming again.
Oh, excellent. Good. Rich is in. Rich Baldock. Evening, Rich.
Hey, you Rich.
Chris Charlton's in. Roger Wallum is here. He's saying it's supposed to rain all day. Today about noon, then a chance of snow. Mike Evans is here. Jim Selby's in. Al's in. Hi, Al. I finally got around to watching your demo from Worldwide Woodturners. Very good, man. Johnny Foster's in. Johnny must be on his lunch break.
Yes, of course.
Thomas Kenny's in. Todd at Glen Cove is here.
Did we miss Roger Kent?
Yeah, I've just said Roger Kent. Haley's in. Good evening, Haley. Anthony Green. Jennifer's in. Jennifer's Crafting Creations. Hey,
Hi, Jennifer.
Paul Norfolk is in. Oh, God, I've forgotten his name again. The Angry Woodturner.
Roger.
Roger. Evening, Roger. Oh,
See
that's
another
saying
one
that's
that I
me
know
down
that.
to the end. Oh, and
No,
Spunby Green Jeans is in.
Yes, and that is John.
John. Evening,
It has
John.
taken me forever, but I finally figured it out. I put two and two together, looking through Facebook and YouTube at the same time, and figured out Spun by Green Jeans is John. So glad to have you, John. You probably saw me. I've been adjusting that. I'm getting it fairly equal on both sides. It's not critical for me. You know, I don't mind it being a little asymmetrical, but we got to get everything where it'll spin good too. So that's part of what I've done. It looks like I'm right on my bedways, but I'm really not. I've got a inch or so, inch and a half there. So we're good. I'm going to turn it down to 80. Oops, not that direction. Let's go the other way. Other way. There we go. There's 80 RPMs. And we're going to get this sped up. I had checked my tool rest while we were there. I'm shaking pretty good there, so I'll slow it down. Come on, slow down. There we go. That's 430 RPMs, and that's about as good as I can go for the moment. It won't take long. We'll be able to speed it up.
So Ronald Todd's just come in. Evening, Ronald.
What's the approximate diameter of the piece?
3.5, 4 inches.
Okay.
Depends on where you measure it.
Doing not too bad, Jennifer. I had went for an MOT at the doctor's, and everything's looking good.
Oh, that's good news.
Well, there was a couple of advisories on there. I have got high blood pressure, which is expected with my lifestyle.
Yeah, you're going to have to quit partying half the night now, Wayne.
But all of my blood work came back okay.
Good.
I always say it was pretty good for me.
You qualified it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Todd at Glen Covis said we had flying tree limbs in Texas, and that I would be able to do a test, and we did. It was 5 a.m. this morning. Storms, lightning, thunder, hurricane force winds. They said gusting to over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
I've got some shingles off my roof. Trees are down around here. Lots of people were out of power today. It was really pretty wicked storm that flew through this morning.
Yeah, and usually that didn't even hit the news over here. It usually does. Zed's in. Evening, Zed.
Hey, Zed.
I was talking to Theo in Australia, and they're getting all boarded up because they're expecting a huge cyclone to come through.
My goodness.
Todd has actually said, I think he means it was 30,000 without power at one point.
That's a bunch. These first few passes, it doesn't take many to cause my tool rest to be a little too far away or further away than I want it.
All right. So, I take that back, Todd. 300,000 without power.
It's a lot of people. We're glad you're not one of them, Todd.
I'm happy to be not one of them. My nephew was out of power for a couple of hours. We lost power for a matter of seconds, just enough to where you have to go around and reset all your clocks.
Good grief. Really looking forward to being able to speed up.
Yeah, the annoying thing about doing something like this when you're holding it between centers is that both the headstock side and the tailstock side have to go through the bark first before they get any grip.
And I did think about using my chisel and taking the bark off in those two areas, but sometimes they have to be moved just a little for balance sake, and so It's almost easier, at least for me, to just go ahead and leave the bark on there and deal with it, which means tightening up the tailstock pretty often, at least to get started. A lot of air, as you can imagine. As you can imagine, if I go to a top view, you can probably, yeah, the top view. You can see I've moved a lot of wood, but it's still just a lot of air. Ready to. I'm getting close on the ends. I've just got from there to there to get done. On both ends, they're pretty equal. I do need to make a tenon still, so we're getting there. We're getting there. See if I can get just a little more speed. No.
Not yet.
It looks like you rocked getting that thing on the lathe centered up.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm just the amount of wood that was left on both ends was like almost exactly the same. You really
Yeah.
centered it up well.
I got it pretty well centered. More than a lot of times, I don't pay attention to how centered it is at all. Like I said, I kind of like it asymmetrical. But for this one was getting close to my swing maximum, and so it needed to be pretty well centered.
Now, Ronald Todd says that he's done many of these balls, and that you're at the point now to make the adjustment to make both sides equal.
Mm.
I think they look just about equal when.
Yeah,
pretty close. There are people. I've watched a number of videos where the turner was. They were very particular. They would get it as close as they could, and then about this point would check it and make sure it was. They were, everything was balanced out and perfectly straight up and down and all that stuff. And I really don't care.
No, I don't care either. I don't care if one side is higher than the other or not.
Right.
To tell you the truth.
And one thing, Wayne, your experience may be similar to mine. One thing I've found is that these natural edge pieces like this sell very, very well.
Yep, they do. And to tell you the truth, I think the ones that don't have equal sides, if you like, of the asymmetrical, the ones that are asymmetrical sell better than the ones that are symmetrical.
Yes.
Well, there's something about nature that's just asymmetrical.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't find a round log.
Well,
they're generally round, but they're not perfectly round.
And Andrew from Wyvie Woodshed has joined us.
Hey, Wyvie.
Andrew.
Who was the one you said, Wayne? Oh, Mike. Yeah. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Dances with Aardvarks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a very interesting piece on the go now.
He does.
He always does.
True.
I'm checking this tin, and I want to get. There's a little bit of bark there. I need to get past it. I'm still not quite there. So I need to go a little deeper. At least one more pass, if not two.
Yeah, it's better to have something solid.
There is someone out there in the chat who I think needs to start doing videos or lives. After the last couple of pieces I've seen of hers, the U1, which was textured and a little bit of color, and the pierced piece that she did as well, looked absolutely fantastic. Yes, Haley, I'm talking about you.
You've been outed, Haley.
Fred wants to know, Wayne, if you've got any lives coming up in the future.
I was wondering how long that was going to be.
I was actually in the workshop today. Somebody popped round to my house to ask for some advice about stuff, and he's been using carbides. He's been using the Glen Teagle carbides, who's Glen Teagle's a guy and his wife as well, from the UK that do carbides, and he was asking for some advice about buying traditional. So we had to pop into the workshop. We had to climb over thousands of stuff, and I gave him a spindle rough and gouge, and I gave him a ball gouge to get him started, and give him some advice about which other tools to get. There was only 2 other tools I suggested he got, which was a spindle gouge and a parting tool. And I've got some serious work to do in that workshop before I can get it back in there and even think about doing lives.
I had fun the other day. I had 3 of the lathes going at the same time.
To tell you the truth, Frederick, in all seriousness, I was actually thinking about my first live being on the 1st of May. I don't even know what day that is, but my first live being on the 1st of May, because my last live was on the 1st of May last year.
Yeah.
Okay, that would sound reasonable.
Ron Todd is asking everyone's opinion on using a dovetail tool, a Techna tool for your tenons.
I made a dovetail tool. You can buy dovetail tools. So the Sorby do one. I can't remember if Hamlet do one, but I made one many years ago. But I'm not overly concerned about the amount of angle that you have on your dovetails anyway, because when I'm doing a bowl, I use a Forstner bit to drill the top and hold with the chuck and by a mortise.
I use either my 3/8 beading parting tool or my skew for making the tenons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing you got to think about as well, take a look at your the jaws on your chuck, because there are a lot of the 50 millimeter Nova jaws. They are not dovetail. So I tend to dovetail mine slightly anyway. It just makes me feel better is all.
Most people have a tendency to put too much angle on. You don't move very much.
And you don't need, the other thing is, you don't need a lot of depth either.
No.
No. Well, it depends on the wood and how dry or green it is, and the grain structure as well.
I think Haley's just poo-pooed my idea of her doing videos and lives.
Haley, start off with some videos. Edit them down to 10, 15, 20 minutes. Just enjoy that process. Oh, that's going to be fun. Nice little hole going down right beside the pith. And there's where it comes out. So there must have been a bug at one time that was chewing on this particular tree.
In fact, you see the Doug's put a tenon on the bottom of his.
Mm-hmm.
My favourite jaws are the C jaws from Axminster, and the ones that I've got don't actually have a dovetail on them.
Right, mine don't either.
You know, they have a lip on them so they can actually hold the screw chuck within there. And whenever I'm using a tenon, I always make sure that I put a groove in there with a very thin parting tool, so the jaws actually fit inside that groove.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very strong hold. It's a very strong hold. Now,
Yeah.
Paul Norfolk has said that the Axminster sea jaws are not dovetailed. That's just what I was explaining there. But some of them are. You can actually buy the sea jaws that are dovetailed.
And Pete from Twisted Trees has joined us. Good morning, Pete.
Hiya, Pete, and Al's here as well.
Hey, Al. Now, I am going
Oh,
against the
I
grain.
mentioned Al earlier on. Sorry about that.
I thought you did. I'm going against the grain right here on the end, just so I don't lift the bark off of the top side. This is another one of those things. If I lose it, I lose it. I'm not going to be overly concerned. But if I can save it, it's just that much nicer.
We can't see that cut.
Now,
Yeah.
Frederick is asking, did you mention what wood it is?
We're not exactly sure.
I
It may
think
very well be oak.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot like oak. You can see some medullary rays there.
And Johnny's had to leave us. He said he'll catch the rest later.
All right, Johnny.
That's Johnny back away to work.
I'm just nibbling down. If I can get it where you. I'm nibbling down. I've only got that much left to get down to get into the bark here. In fact, I don't even have to go quite that far. But anyway, I'm just nibbling down there, and then I'll come back up and smooth all that out.
Frederick also said that his favourite jaws are the H jaws. I think they must be from Axminster as well, and they will hold anything.
Ronald Todd suggests it's fogwood, which is my favorite wood that found on ground stuff.
Well, if I can't positively identify it, that's what it will be.
Now, once you get down to where we can see the wood, we'll probably have a better chance at identifying it.
Now, Haley has said, Doug, see the words that just don't fit in the same sentence are video and enjoy. She has no interest in technology apart from watching us lot. Her laser is still in the box after 8 months.
Who said anything about a laser?
Yeah, but it's technology. I think I've said that. Brian from over in Northern Ireland had a laser, which he sent to Mark, the gentleman wood turner, which he never used, and he sent it to me, and it's still in the box.
Oh, well, you can send it to me then. I'll store it for you.
I offered that once. He laughed at me. Yeah, that one pass coming from bottom to top made a huge difference. That was so rough. It's much, much better now. So another couple of passes along the bottom. We get this, get some shape in it here.
And Norman Greenwell has joined us. Hi, Norman.
Norman.
It's got us up to 500 at this point.
Jennifer said that she'll get Mark to come and show how to use it. It's not even set up, Jennifer. Like I say, it's still sitting in bits in the box. And Dale from Maple Tree Studios is already offered to get it set up for me. And I still haven't.
Yeah, Karsten Peterson's joined us. Hi, Karsten.
Oh, God. Mike has started with the jokes. Surprisingly enough, Zed hasn't. Mike started with the jokes. He said he tried using some of those false clown teeth as jaws, but he got too much chatter.
Oh dear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, y'all can see that shape, can't you? A little
Yep.
bit of an OG shape there.
That's making me laugh way more than it should.
What's that? The shape or Mike's joke?
The joke.
Okay, okay.
I don't know. It hit me just right somehow.
Yeah, but you know what? Jokes about German sausage are the worst.
Oh, here we go. Nice one, Ruby.
Well, England has no kidney bank, but it does have a Liverpool.
I'm going to go on Google Maps just to see if there's anywhere in the UK called Kidney Bank now.
And
By Jove, I think we've done it. If I back that out just a little bit, y'all can see.
we have a
Right.
question. What type of bowl gouge are you using?
It's a Doug Thompson 1/2-inch parabolic flute. It's the cryogenically treated high-speed steel. Once you get a good edge on it, it lasts a fairly long time. See, I got a little ledge right there.
Ron says that's exactly the shape he had in mind when you started. Rich says he might get back in his shop now that he has a bunch of free time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask her, have you been made redundant, Rich?
Yeah.
Looks like they mentioned that earlier in the chat. That
all right. Okay.
Maybe he was affected by that.
I must have missed
He
that.
was. In fact, Rich, feel free to put anything you want to put in, but don't put anything in you don't want to put in. I was a little miffed when I found out Rich had announced that he had lost his job, and then my being a little upset kind of went away when I heard that they had filed Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is a bankruptcy.
Right. Heather's just come in.
Hey,
Heather.
The Dutchman's Woodshack is asked, do you guys ever use carbide tipped bowl gouges? To tell you the truth, I've never ever seen a carbide tipped bowl gouge.
Neither have I.
Go on, Todd. Sorry, I interrupted there.
Oh, I was just going to say that Rich said there's 3 people left in the U.S. The president, president's wife, and VP of operations.
I didn't know who it was, but I had seen their Technotools press release.
Yeah, I have the Nova DVR XP lathe from them, which of course I love my lathe. Hate to see that company struggling.
Yeah, me too.
Zed informed us that the cops caught 2 guys that robbed a calendar store. They each got half a year.
Mm.
And Mark's just come in. Mark Stroughton has just come in.
Hey, babes. Just a very light here, scrape here. Very light because I've got so much air there. I have been able to speed it up to 730. There's 830. That's going to be even better. And the only reason I care right now about getting this a whole lot smoother so I don't have to sand as much. I don't want to get in between those wings. That would be detrimental. Might even leave a mark. And I don't want to do that for sure. Okay, let's move that again.
Karsten says his uncle fell into a big vat of grease at work. He survived at first, but over the next days he slipped away.
Mm, 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 mm. Well, what in the world? Let's get. Oh, I know the tool I need. Give me half a second. Let me get the tool I need. Oh, where's JP when you need him? This is my easy CI1 easy rougher with the square, an absolutely square cutter on it. And this is the Pro Series, the big ones.
Zed's just put in autocorrect has become my worst enemy.
I can relate, Jed.
I like that one.
And Lucy's joined us. Hi, Lucy.
Hey, Lucy.
Lucy.
Looks like the bottom of that bowl is going to be quite aerated there, Doug.
Yeah. It's interesting how we've opened up the wormholes that were in it. There we go. This side's not bad. It's pretty solid. But this side, there's the one we talked. That's the one we talked about originally. There's two more. The more I look at them, that could even be bee holes.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. They're nice and big. So they're either large grub holes or they're bee holes, one of the two. This came from my father's yard, and he has a bunch of big carpenter bees. In fact, he built a log cabin, and that's got spider web in it, so who knows? He brought me these logs, and I'm not sure how long they were laying on the ground.
Mm.
But if they were eating this instead of his house, that's a good thing. All right. That'll be something interesting to open up. Okay.
So the Dutchman's Woodshark said, "Hey, what did one split piece of wood say to another? You crack me up."
And Pete was saying that his little boy has just turned 40 years old. He doesn't know how he got there that fast. You can wish him happy birthday for us all, Pete.
Absolutely. One of the first.
And Rich has said, it looks like a few of the vendors, the likes of Grizzly and Woodcraft and a few more, are liquidating Nova products. He said that Grizzly was the cost plus 5%.
Cost plus 5.
Cost plus 5, yeah.
That's the end you want to put in the chuck, Doug.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. I want to go back between centers for just a second. I thought I had my tenon nice and square, but I don't. It's pitched the wrong direction. So we're going to get it pitched the right direction.
Okay. Zed said, my neighbor told me his 80-year-old wife has decided to learn to drive. I told him that I wouldn't stand in her way.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've got to say though, for the first time today, my wife decided to open the door for me. It's a shame we were going 70 miles an hour.
Yeah. Okay, that's off just a little bit. It'll be okay, I think. I hope. Let's pull out Ruby's favorite tool.
Yes.
1/4 inch Badan.
And Pete said a problem will be cost plus 5%, no future parts, and Nova has custom electronics.
I tell you what worries me or bothers me even more is, and that's bad enough. Um, and there was a new lathe about to come out too, is what I understand. So, um, but I was told a little while back, not very long, that Woodcraft is going to discontinue Nova chucks.
Mm.
They've been a huge supplier of Nova chucks and jaws for quite a while.
Now, when I do that part on my lathe, I usually put a ruler across the bottom to see if it's flat.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm going to have to come back and turn that some more anyway.
Well,
After
Canada's still going to carry the Nova chucks.
there we go. I love my Nova chucks and jaws, my Hornick jaws. I use them quite often. My dome jaws, I've used them, just not as much as I thought I would. But they're awfully nice. I love them. Now we get to have some real fun. Let's see. I'll turn that the other way. There we go.
That's a good idea.
There we go. There we go. Get you guys switched so you can see what's going on. Double check my chuck. Make sure we're good and tight. I don't want to be, I don't know. A while back, I started going around several times, hitting both the tension holes several times instead of one time just super hard. Um, and I tell you, I have not had a trouble with it since. Like I'm just a touch low. And a touch close. There we go. All right, still at 830 RPMs. I'm going to switch to a Sorby bowl gouge, 1/2 inch is still. Don't ask me what angle my grind is. I have no clue.
Well, this is fairly open anyway and shallow, so you could use a variety of grinds on it.
Oh, absolutely. I don't, excuse me, getting my tail stuck off. I don't grind mine to a particular angle. I have my sharpener set up and I keep the same angle all the time. So across all my gouges, whether it's one of the two Sorbys, which both have different, they're ground slightly differently, or my Doug Thompson, or even my spindle gouges, my 3 spindle gouges, they're all ground the same. Okay, I'm just kind of looking over my edge where I can see my bottom side. And I can tell there I'm pretty thick on my wing, so I can make it a little deeper there. It's a little better, but I'm still thick. There we go. It's just a matter of kind of looking and deciding how. That's a little. There we go. Went through the vibration that time. If you look down the side from the edge, you can kind of see how thick you are inside. In fact, let's turn it off so we can really see it.
Maybe from up above?
Maybe. I was going to see how thick am I? Well, here again. Where's my double-ended caliper? That thing, it hides. There it is. Nope, that's not it. It hides on me. So let's just take a regular set of. There we are. Yeah, we're a good. What's that? Half inch? Yeah, right at a half inch still. I can take it a little more out of it, and I want to establish this and get it cleaned up before I go much further, because I don't want all the flex. This will start to flex here just a little bit if I try to put too much work into it, get it too thin. And I want it thin.
How dry was this wood?
That's a great question. I have no clue, but we can find out real quick. $15.
Okay.
It's been sitting here in my basement for 3 or 4 months, and I don't know how long it was on the ground before that. Okay, I'm pretty well done here. I want to take one cleaning pass on this outer, just that section right there, from the bark into that line right there. Just a cleaning pass.
Yeah, no, the reason Doug is doing this, he's wanting to turn the walls fairly thin. What you don't want to do is take out a lot of the middle, otherwise you're going to get a lot of vibration. He's leaving a lot of bulk in the middle, so he can actually finish or get a finishing cut on the outside to get it down to the thickness he wants, and then do it further and go further in and further in, so you don't come back to the outside part again and return that, because that's when you're going to get a lot of vibration.
And the small woodlot has joined us. Welcome.
Good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Pat? Now, I'm just letting the wood kind of sand itself. I'm not pressing directly into it. You see, I've got the top edge slanted toward the camera. I'm only sanding with the bottom edge of the sandpaper and letting the wood come to the sandpaper.
Pat, we don't know what kind of wood for sure this is. We're hoping we'll know when he gets it turned.
You can see the black in the grain. That is starting to look like it might be hackberry. And that is sanded pretty nicely right there. Just that little bit of, that was a 60 grit. No, it's not. It's 80 grit. There's some 120. And
he has determined that this is a knuckle tapper bowl.
Yes, definitely. And let me see if y'all can see this or not. I don't know. No. To me, it looks like the sandpaper is going through the wood. It's crazy looking. I'm not even seeing a lot of dust come off, which is fine. It doesn't have to. I don't have to see it, but I know it is. I know it's working.
Is it clogging up the abrasive paper at all, Doug?
No, it's not clogging at all.
Therefore, it must be fairly dry then.
Yeah, 15% is what the meter said.
Jim says it sounds like a card in bicycle spin.
Absolutely. Yeah, if I had two, one on each side, it'd be great. Sound just like a bicycle. How many times? How many decks of playing cards that are ruined doing exactly that?
Yeah, as did
All right.
everyone else.
That was our generation, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kids
Now
today
that's
haven't got a
pretty
clue
smooth,
what we're talking about.
right? That's pretty smooth. Even right there, the junction between the bark and the wood, it's pretty smooth. I'll have to do a little hand sanding at the end just to clean up that joint. But other than that, not that close. All right.
Now,
Next
Zed
little.
says that you used to turn these kinds of bowls at a much higher RPM, but then your lathe would fly out of the shed.
You can only, yeah. I mean, I'm up to 1,030 RPMs right now, which is, as my friend William says, that's plenty fast enough. Faster does cause the air gap to be smaller, not literally, but figuratively, effectively. Lost something. What did I
Yeah.
lose?
So what Doug's saying there is that if you can get the lathe to go faster, you do end up getting a smoother cut.
Yeah. Okay, lost a chunk of the bark. It's all loose.
That's okay.
That's oak. Sure as the world, that's oak. Top. Y'all can't see it. Right in through here, where these little rays are, there's some twisty and curly around, kind of like a lacy oak. It's quite nice. I like it, but that tells me what it is anyway. So I still need to go just a little thinner in this little section right here. Yeah, it's okay. As you were saying, Ruby, to lose that piece of bark. I said when we started, if I keep the bark, that's great. If I don't, that's okay. And I'm still working this, making it even thinner because I can look at the back and see that I've lost parallel. Just getting it back into parallel, so I'm.
Well, we can tell the thickness by looking through the spinning wood at the pieces on the shelf behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to double check. Yeah, there's one of my bug holes. Yeah, I'm still thick right there. I need to clean that up before I go further.
I forgot to say earlier on that Zed did put his link into his Premiere for later on.
Great.
Would you like to put it in again, Zed, since I didn't mention it?
And he shows how he does the tenon in that link.
Much better. Much better. Okay. Let's run just a little sandpaper on there. I'm not going to run all the grits. I'll just run the 80 grit, just so it's clean at that point. Do need to move my tool rest.
So Zed has put his link in again for his Premiere, which is later on, and he is turning a piece of pistachio.
Yeah, the pistachio pieces he's turned in the past have been very pretty pieces. Very nice wood.
It's a beautiful wood to work with.
I've never worked with pistachio.
I ordered a piece of pistachio years ago when I was still turning on the shopsmith, and it came in, and I didn't think about how wet or dry it was, and that bark, not the bark, the wood, it cracked all to pieces. I tossed it. There's nothing to turn. So it was a big loss for me. But it was a pretty wood. Holy cow.
And Tony Turns Wood's just come in. He's
Hey, Tony.
apologising. He's apologising for being late and because work was crazy. Whoops.
That went flying. That's why you don't stand in the line of fire. Oh, me. Okay. Here it is. And the funny thing is, the only thing it knocked off was a paintbrush. Okay. So, there's my center there. I do like to spend some time sometimes and figure out why something like that happens. But I don't see anything. Huh. Must have just been a fault in the wood that I still don't see. But anyway, we'll fix this. Not a problem. Not a problem. Worst part would be putting the tailstock back up.
It happened while you still had plenty of wood, so.
Yeah. It wasn't like I went through it. I may have taken a little bit of a heavy cut, maybe.
Well, don't forget that split would have been along a grain line. And that could just be the grain line was weak from when the tree was felled.
Yeah, could be. Because this part is broken. That part's kind of rough, but this part up here is fairly smooth. I don't know. It's one of those things. There are things to get worried about, and there are other things not to get worried about. And this is one not to get worried about. And I may change my axis just a little bit. That's okay too.
Now, Lucy's just put in, Zed, you'll be on earlier next week, as will Doug. Do you guys change your clocks this weekend? Are our clocks getting changed this weekend, Lucy? Seems a bit early.
Ours changed this weekend, Sunday
All
morning.
right.
I don't know about yours. Is usually a week or two after ours. I say that it's usually a week or two different from ours.
The only ones that don't change, I think, is I may well be wrong with this, but Arizona don't change their times.
Parts of Arizona, yeah.
I'm going to have to look that up.
There's talk here in Kentucky that will change back to normal time next fall, and that'll be the last time. There's also talk about a federal bill being introduced, so nobody changes.
They don't change in Hawaii either.
Yeah, you're right.
Some parts of Indiana. Right?
Maybe. Okay, that's where we're going right there. Okay. Yeah, Pete says last Saturday of March. All right, let's see what we can do here.
Right, Lucy, I've just done a check, and our clocks go forward on the 30th of March, not this weekend coming.
That was kind of a shame too. That tendon was sized. It ended up being absolutely perfect. This would be right at it. So, but I'm going to make it just a little deeper.
So, a question here for you guys. When that tenon came off of there, it came off of there like sheared off with the grain.
Mm-hmm.
Would that have been less likely to happen based on how tight you had tightened down that chuck? Does that have any bearing on that?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, if it was too tight, yes. But you saw I didn't put a
Yeah.
death grip on it. Um, I used to do a death grip. I just don't like to do it anymore.
I think it's more because that would be the line across the bottom of the tenon would be in line with a grain line.
Mm-hmm.
And if that grain line happened to be one of the softer grains as opposed to the harder grain, then it might not have let go.
Anthony
Now what?
Green's asking if a bigger tenon would have been better.
Yes or no? It could go either way.
You do too big a tenon and your jaws aren't close enough to that circle, and they are only biting with the edges. Where the way I had the size that I had it as far as the diameter, I was getting pretty much 360-degree contact.
Yeah, if you're going to use a bigger tenon, you're probably going to have to use bigger jaws.
Yeah. Just creating a little bit of a foot here. You have to correct my.
I've got to say though that when I was turning regularly, I rarely used a tenon. I always preferred a mortise.
Yeah, yeah. And I have used a mortise a number of times because of watching you, Wayne. I like it. Tell you what, I'm going to make this just a hair deeper because this place where the original, well, you can't really see it. There's a place right here where I can grab it, but it's just not enough for my liking.
And Fred's asking if the mortise would lessen the odds of it happening. I don't think so.
No.
No, I would say not necessarily. When I said about using a mortise, that's a personal preference for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can still, even though this is obviously bowl turning, so it's side grain as opposed to end grain, you can still have problems using a mortise. A similar type of problem where it just breaks out.
Yeah, just instead of the center breaking out, you break out toward the sides of the bowl. Um, it's like Wayne said, it's a personal preference. I was taught using mortise, or using tenons. I didn't know you could use a mortise till I'd been turning for, golly, several years. So then when I learned it, I thought, how great is that? But then I couldn't get out of my tenon frame of mind, and so made it a little difficult. But in recent years, I did more of them and realized how good a tool that is. Okay, just so you can see, rework that so it's nice and crisp, ready to go.
Now, Tony says that when he does these branches to bowls, he keeps the tailstock right up until the very end.
I understand. Most people do, and Ruby is cringing over there, wishing I would.
I didn't say a word, did I?
No, you didn't, but I know.
I've got to say, I tend not to.
Yeah, I was taught kind of with the same philosophy that Wayne talks about. Um, I, we just saw it fly off with a tenon let go, and a recess can let go too. You just have to get to the point where you trust it and just go for it. And it's really not that bad if it does come off. You saw that it came off, yes. I was turning relatively
fast, so it flew back behind me, but not violently.
But what's good is you showed how you dealt with it.
Yeah, yeah. You just pick it up, see if it's repairable, and you go for it. It's
Now, Fred suggested using a coating of CA on the tenon to weld the grain together, and that doesn't always work when it has this high a moisture content.
right.
As Pete points out, flying timber is great YouTube content. You
Yeah.
just never have the right camera running to catch the full flight.
And like Zed has just put in there, and I was going to mention the same thing. Using CA glue can sometimes make the wood more brittle, so
Yes.
it's even more prone to fail.
Yeah. And Rob from Copper Owl has joined us. Hi, Rob.
Hey, Copper.
Mike says that with that shape, it could have flown right back onto the chuck.
Yeah. One of the things I'm finding, I'm getting into those bug holes, and that may be what I did. I may have caught one of those bug holes. That's always a possibility.
Yes, and this one does have somewhat of a holy nature to it.
I like what Doug did with the new tenon. He formed that foot out a little bit more and then used some of the depth of the foot to put in the new tenon, so he didn't have to consume as much wood.
Exactly.
So I thought that was a nice little technique there.
Zed says that he used to think that until he had one of his cameras atomized by flying timber and the tablet he was using to video the camera.
And MB Woodturn has just come in.
Hey, MB. I've got a little ridge right there that I need to get rid of. Let's see, I'm going to get a pencil so I can mark that. Can't see it without some kind of mark.
I'd do the other side without the hole.
All right. And if I can't see that, I'll get a black marker. Come on, hit the button. There we go. Oh, I can see it. I can see it beautifully.
We can too.
Yeah, I was about to say, so can I.
All right, let's see what we got. All right, we're good. We're good. Glad I got that line, because if I had to take more, it'd be too thin. All right.
Right. Can I make a suggestion here, Doug?
Yes, sir.
Seeing as how you've got the wall thickness okay on the outside pieces, why not on where you're turning now, go down towards the headstock?
Going this way.
So you're going down that way towards the headstock, because that way you're actually pushing the wood towards the headstock. No, you're only concentrating on the centerpiece.
Yes, but I don't want that hitting my hand out here on the side.
All right, okay, I'm with you.
Just for me, and this wing is actually cracked.
Okay.
So let me fix that before I go any further.
Lucy, we're not sure if the wood is oak or a hackberry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's oak. Let me do it this way. I'm going to fix this crack in a way. I don't think I've done this on live before. There we go. Get that out of my way. Yeah, because, and you can see it here, Wayne, if I were to go down this edge out here, I'm bad about letting the side of my hand go past my tool
Okay.
rest.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It bites. It bites. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of wood glue. Normally we would use CA, but wood glue is just a different way of doing things. I'm going to work that into that little crack right there. Some of you may have seen this on another channel. So there's that, and then
I'm going to use a piece of tape.
no, I'm going to sand it.
Okay.
And what that's doing, that sanding is, I work the glue down into the crack just a little bit, and then I'm sanding it, which will put some sawdust down in there. It also makes it a little dirty looking, but I'll clean that up later after it's completely dry. But then also the friction builds just a little bit of heat, and that helps set that glue up as well. So
yeah, I do that on my flat work.
Yeah, it's not cured yet, but it's a lot better than what it was. I'm going to do the same thing on the back side. And then we're going to get on with it because we're already gone past the hour just a touch. Again, just working the glue into the crack just a little bit. I'm going to kind of halfway hold it as I sand it. I'm going to have to come back and hand sand all these bug holes too. They're pretty ratty. That bug didn't do a very clean job. Another reason why I think it might be bees instead of worms. So, okay. Get my glue out of the way so I don't dump it. Never done that before though, have I? Yes, I have. Okay. Still at 1200.
Zed says that the bug holes are for securing the incense sticks.
Trying to be a little more purposeful, keeping my hands behind the tool rest.
You'll get reminded if you forget.
Absolutely.
It's always nice. I find that once you've got your tool rest positioned, it's always nice to mark on the tool rest where the edge of the piece is.
Yeah. Yes. All right, there's my one complaint right there of the Nova banjo. This section right here. on the wood side sticks out just a little further than I'd like.
And I think
Other
that's
than that,
true of another number of different tool rests.
yeah.
And Zed says that by marking the tool rest, Wayne really means bleeding on it.
So a lot of bleeding talk here is reminding me that tomorrow for Worldwide Wood Turners, which I don't is basically 6 to 9 Central Time here in the U.S. There's a club that you can belong to. You self-report into it, which is the Band-Aid Club. If you happen to make a mistake like this, you can bring it up during the meeting and add yourself to the club and remind people of the safety requirements there for turning
Yeah.
a winged piece like this. So,
But at the same time, no pictures, please.
exactly. Those have happened a few times, and you maybe not so good. But that's a great club there tomorrow. Worldwide Wood Turners.
Yeah, I'm almost absolutely positive that's oak.
Thanks
If
for
you want,
doing that, Todd. I was just about to go and look and put the link in, but you've
yeah.
already done that.
So there's the link, and if you want to join us tomorrow, you can go to that link. And right there on the main page is typically a little thing that says "click here to go to meeting," and you click it, and it'll open up Zoom. We use Zoom for the meetings, but
And it's free.
it's free.
It's free. It doesn't cost anything.
And
It's
there's
it's getting towards being one of the biggest wood turning clubs, albeit online wood turning clubs, and it's totally free. And
and
all of the people that demonstrate are members of the club and do it free.
and there's some amazing members of the club that are incredible demonstrators in and of themselves. So,
And one of the things I really like, and Wayne, I think you and I have talked about it before. One of the things I really like is that anybody is welcome to do a demonstration.
Yes.
You don't have to have bunches of video and audio equipment.
If you can do it using your smartphone, you can do it using your smartphone.
Absolutely. I think the first 4 or 5 demonstrations I did for them, I did using a smartphone. Because that's all I had at the time. I wasn't doing lives yet, but I was making videos on my phone, and oh yes, we're getting there. Yep.
As Pete says, he keeps meaning to pop in, but he falls asleep or forgets.
Oh
Because
mercy, I
for
understand.
people in England, it starts at midnight.
Yeah.
No, it starts at 11. It starts at 11 over here, Ruby. The demo usually starts sometime after midnight. That's true. But the meeting itself starts before that. And I did really mean last week to try and stay awake because it was Al that was doing the demo, and I haven't seen him do a demo before. But I did watch it earlier on today, and it was very good.
Yes, he did do a good job.
Yep, I've got that in my plans to do one day. It was a neat project. I really enjoyed it. How did I say that? I really enjoyed it. Believe me. Is that right, Al? Is that how you say it? Okay. I think that tool's getting dull, but I'm going to go to, got to have this at least once in every project, right?
Oh,
This
definitely.
is the
It has to be used.
number one hollower.
Now, the thing that with using the, like Doug's doing there, using that carbide tool, the number one hollower, is that you don't have to come in from the side. You can actually go from both directions.
It's a deceiving tool with that small tip on the end of it. You would think it would take less wood away, but it will remove the wood quickly.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's pretty quick. I do have a demonstration coming up. In fact, I've got two coming up, both in the same store. One is this Saturday, and one is 2 weeks after that. That's not right. I've got one this coming Saturday, and then it's either the first or second Saturday in May. It went from the hollower to the finisher, just to take out any little ridges that I may have put in there, and to make sure I get that center tip out of there. Something else, when you're doing these things, as y'all can see, those wings are fairly transparent. But if I just came back across and accidentally jammed that into that wing,
It
I've
might
wasted
fly
all that
again.
time.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, I don't want to do it on purpose. Not on purpose. Lovely bug holes. But honestly, that will add to the charm, the draw of it. People look at that and say, "Where did those come from?" And they love the story. Love the story. I don't. The rest of this bark is on here tight. Well, those are not. But the part that's on tight, I'll leave it. A little bit of flex there. That's that one that's cracked.
Now,
That glue
Pete
didn't
said,
hold.
when you think about it, a traditional gouge is most of the time taking a fairly narrow shaving. Only use the full cut on the rough and out phase. You're probably right there, Pete, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rob says that he didn't like hollowing until he got his Easy Wood number one hollower. Now he doesn't mind.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
most people find it's easier to use when they're learning to hollow.
Yes, yes. It does make a difference. Some of you who have been turning for a while will recognize. Oh, I'll get this over here where you can see it.
Yes.
That's like what they would call an Olin tool. That's one I made specifically to hollow a deep vessel. The lady that asked me to turn it for her was from Sweden, I think, and she was wanting to send it to a friend of hers, and she was calling it a wine koozie. It was big enough to put a wine bottle in. Fairly deep. So I made that tool so I could get down into the depths of it. All right, I'm not going to sit here and hand sand all of this. Ah, good. That bark came off. That, okay, came off from the other direction. Excellent. That one's not. Okay, but what I can do now is I can get my torch and come along here and torch that edge all the way around except for where there actually is bark, which is very little. Right there is a strip, and right here on this end from there to there. So I can burn that, and it'll look more like bark. Get it sanded, get some finish on it, and life is good.
Rich has said that he's used both the Easy Wood tools and the Hunter, and he thinks the Hunter is far superior. I've never used the Hunter, to tell you the truth.
They're very good.
I don't think we have
I've got one.
I don't think we've got a distributor in the UK for Hunter.
Does the Hunter have like a cupped cutter? Is that the?
Yes. It's the cup carbide.
Yeah, it'll be similar to the what we have
Simon Hope.
over here is Simon Hope.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he does the cup cutters, and they are very good as well.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yes,
I
they are.
use them. I used Simon Hope's ones in my hollowing jig because I've got the Simon
Mm.
Hope hollowing jig as well.
Yeah.
On something like this, I find to get those center ridges out, that a power sander often works well.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And that's what I will do off camera. I wasn't even going to do this on camera, but I just grabbed it and started rubbing while we were talking. But those edges will clean up nice. And
I've got loads of different hollowing tools. So some of them are high-speed steel with a where you can actually adjust the depth of cut with a guard over the top and things like this. The Exocet I've got Rolly Monroe's one as well, and a few different other ones. I think I've got a couple of the smaller woodcut ones as well. But to tell you that I prefer carbides when it comes to hollowing now.
yeah, that's one of the Hunter tools right there.
Yes.
You almost can't see the cutter. It's pretty short. It's not very big, but that little thing it's like the Easy Wood. They hold up a long time. They cut really well. In fact, I had that tool when I was taking a class with Jimmy Clues, and he just went on and on and on. He went on about that and about my whatever the finish I was using at the time. You could smell the honey in it, whatever it was. Had a little beeswax in it. He just went on. Oh, that smells so lovely. He's a funny character.
Except he was doing it in my accent.
yes, exactly. Yes, in your accent. I can't do it, so I don't even try. I used to.
I think Jimmy has less accent than you do, Wayne.
Well, the thing that I like, the one of the things I like about Jimmy, because a lot of the videos I've seen of his is when he's been doing demos at wood turning clubs over in the States, and he always tends to start off with, "You'll not tend to recognize my accent. That's because I'm from Alabama."
Yeah.
You know, Jimmy and I are from the same part of the world in the UK.
Yeah. He came to our club when I was in Louisville, and you can tell where I'm from by the way I say Louisville. These guys came in, grabbed up 3 or 4 chairs right dead in front of the lathe. In fact, they pulled up closer to the lathe, so they were sitting as close as they felt like they could. So Jimmy gets he's starting off with a piece of 2x4 in between centers on a one way. He gets it all set up and he's spinning it and he's checking it, this, that, and the other. And he said he doesn't even look up. He says, some people may find this a problem to sit very close to this. And about that time, he hits the on button and it's going full speed. Those guys, their eyes went whoop, and they backed up. And got.
You can feel the wind in the 4th row.
Yeah, absolutely. They moved to the back. all 4 of them did. And these were old codgers. That's what they did every time. They'd come to the meeting early and get their chairs. They get their chair, they didn't help set up. Just sit 4 chairs for themselves, and they set them up as close to the lathe as they could. And so he didn't say a word. He just let them do it. Started that lathe. They got their chairs and moved to the back.
As a wood turner, Jimmy's the number one reason to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, the angry wood turner has said, "I thought he lives in Las Vegas now." Yeah. He's lived in Las Vegas for quite a few years. He is actually now an American citizen. He went and got his American citizenship.
Quite a while ago.
Yeah, quite a while ago. It was a good few years ago he did that.
And he told us when he was in Louisville that the last time he was there, he told us the reason he was going to Vegas was because that's the cheapest airport in the United States to fly into, because the city pays a lot of the taxes, and so the airport doesn't have to charge as much. So everything else is expensive, but yeah, okay. Well, folks, yeah, I've got you guys back. It's been fun. We've gone an hour and 25 minutes just having a good time, just chatting. I'll get this sanded up. There's a fair amount of hand sanding with this. Um, I'll do some with the drill, but I'll do a lot just by hand, especially the
Now,
edges.
Doug, Zed has said that he's going to be going to Kentucky in May, and they are visiting Mammoth Cave.
Very good, very good. You'll have a good time there if you've not been before. Mammoth Cave is supposed to be the world's largest cave system in the world, and
There you go.
I've only been through a little piece of it, and it took a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours to go through that. Um, and believe it or not, they're still finding cave passages in there that they didn't know about. They just found some this last year, about another 30 miles. So it's extensive. It's hundreds of miles of caves. It's craziness.
Yeah, Pete,
Zed,
I
you may
don't know
have
if
to give me a call.
I don't know if you saw that, Doug, but Pete's just put in several of the pieces Wayne's done over the years. He's watched with his face shield on.
I understand. I've been there. I've seen a couple of those. Yeah. I wear my face shield considerably. Anyhow, folks, it's been good. It's been a great day. We've got some good things done. Chris, you're welcome. Um, and Zed, hope to look in on yours here in a few minutes. It's always good. Monday evenings are kind of tough sometimes, but I think tonight or Tuesday. This isn't Monday. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday, I'm quite tied up usually with my wife, either getting off work or she's home and trying to fix supper. But anyway, we're all good. I think we're great tonight, and supper's already made. It's soup. So anyway, I'll probably be in there. But it's been good to have all of you guys along. I don't know how many's still here, 40 or something. But it's been good, and hope we'll see you again next week. I'm supposed to be out next week, but I think I'm going to be here. If I'm not, I'll put it out on all the socials and in the community tab here that I'm not going to be in, but I think I'll be here. So with that being said, I'm going to say bye, and I'm going to let my three friends say bye as well.
Good night.
We'll see you all next week. Have a great